Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. Today is a great day for talking about interesting topics on AI. Generative AI workspace has been changing so dramatically for the last couple of years, and I am super excited actually to be discussing about what H2O AI has in store for you guys, including the freemium version that we have available for you and which I would love to guide you through today's session. So it will be a very hands-on practical session and I am excited to actually lead this one because I feel like usually we don't put our hands that much into the tool. Sometimes we are scared and usually this is happening because perhaps we don't have the technical expertise and we are like very scared to try a bit the technical aspect. And that's unfortunate because with the development of all these tools that are out there right now, you don't even need to learn to code or to code yourself in order to build applications that can literally change your life. So that's what today's topic is all about. Okay, I'm going to start my session today. So welcome once again, and thank you for taking the time to joining me today at the end of your day. My name is Andrea. I am the head of the training department here at H2O AI, and my role and responsibility is to create engaging onboarding training content for the broader community because our value is around democratizing AI. So we want to make sure that we continue developing open source tools, and that was the main goal when the company initially was created. And we want to make sure that everyone has access to AI tools and can use them in order to have a competitive advantage in this market we are today. And so my role is to create engaging content and training and certification programs. And we have centralized all these trainings that we created, resources, and for free certifications, so on and so forth, on our website that is called h2o.ai/university. So don't hesitate to check it out after this session. You might be interested in some of the tools that we have over there, knowing that H2O AI is developing tens and tens of applications that are very useful for customers in different industries, and that we are updating them on a regular basis. And some of them might be interesting for you to take a look at. Some of them are free for you to use. And today I'm going to present to you one of our main platforms that we are using, which I really think is at the edge of what the technology field right now can offer. And so with this in mind, I'm going to show you with the promise that you will indeed leave with from this experience with like a concrete skill today, whether or not you have developer skills. The aim here is not to scare you about, oh my goodness, how can I create an agent if I don't know anything about generative AI or about large language models, so on and so forth. So the aim is not to scare you, but actually to encourage you to leverage some of the tools that are out there, which have been specifically developed for people who might not necessarily want to get their hands into the technical aspects. And that's why here at H2O AI, we are developing a lot of tools that are very user-friendly and very intuitive, with the aim of enhancing your work through creating a nice experience and creating applications that can help you and don't take time from you to actually develop. And so why AI agents matter today? So there are a lot of reasons. Here there are some resources that say that 78% of companies who use AI in at least one of the business areas that there, like there is an big amount of companies that are using AI right now. And if you are not of the companies that are using AI, well, that's something that you're missing out, because there is a real competitive advantage in using these tools. And the problem is that when you are not using them, well, there are other companies that are using them and that are going to have an advantage in front of you. So what I want to say here is that yes, indeed, there are a lot of companies using it. It's not late to start using AI yourselves. Gen AI users report 5% productivity increase per week, although I would argue it's even more than that. And of course, daily Gen AI users report higher productivity, higher compensation, and job stability. So whether or not you're trying to have a good leverage in your professional domain or in your business overall, AI is very powerful, and the strength and the force is with the ones who are actually going to know how to leverage it and embrace it in a way that matters and not be against it. So I'm really a big promoter of using AI capabilities for the greater good, for social good. And I really start seeing a lot of use cases, especially with our customers, in improving those workflows that request a lot of time consumed in a manual manner, improving them, automatizing them in a way that is saving millions and millions to companies, and definitely proven for our customers. So there is a real potential out there, not only to improve the company's workflows, but also to make sure that these companies have a real impact in the world and answer within delays that are way shorter than ever before. And so in this session, you will learn how to create your first real AI agent from scratch, how to turn simple prompts into a functional web app, how to automate and accelerate the kind of work you do every day if you have any ideas. And so the question that I ask you just before going into the agenda, because I had like a long introduction here, is are you ready to learn how the entire demo app that I'm going to share to the screen right now with you has been created from scratch in a couple of minutes? And so let me actually share this here on the screen with you. I'm going to open a new window. And so what I'm doing now is I'm sharing with you a hyperlink that I have created for an application for which I had like an idea, and it took me a couple of minutes to develop it in the conditions where I'm not like even developer myself. So I have never coded in my life a website page, but this didn't actually block me at all into creating this application. So here we are going to come back on this page a bit later. Let's click on the version number 1. This is actually the application that I have created. It's a holiday gift recommendation dashboard. So let's say now, with the occasion of the holidays, as a company, we have, for example, a couple of people, maybe colleagues, clients, or team members somehow that are new, for whom we would like to offer a sort of a gift. And in order to do that, we would like actually to consult with the policies company and to make sure that actually the gift and the amount of the gift is in the recommended limits. So I created here 2 versions. I'll come back later on them. With this one, respecting like H2O.ai's branding, and which shows you actually, for example, the dashboard for 3 colleagues with categories of things that you can buy for them, with an expense limit and with a lot of capabilities. So let's say for this colleague who is a tech enthusiast, I have a budget limit of $70, and I can connect to a database where I can select, for example, a particular product to stay within the limits. For this senior client executive, I can offer a premium coffee gift set, for example. I can click to expand the details and see more information about this product and select it if I'm interested in. As well as for a new team member, let's say randomly choosing something or selecting something specific that I am interested in, compliant or fully compliant. And then I am going to send the gift notifications to these individuals by using their full name and email address. So actually, this is like a pretty complex tool that I have created in a matter of minutes. And so what I'm interested in is to maybe spark your enthusiasm and have you give it a try and try it together. So this is my desire for the next couple of minutes. And so the agenda today, just for you to be aware of, is a small introduction about the context of what are AI agents in general and why do we use them. Then we are going to jump straight into building a first application, and I'm going to share with you access to our freemium enterprise GPT tool that you can try. And then we are going to try to upgrade our agent with smart capabilities. And at the end would be maybe for you to, before finishing this day, to get certified based on some questions that appeared with answers from this presentation, and get certified for this particular presentation, which I really feel would be very useful to you, maybe to like help you brainstorm some possible use cases for which you could imagine applicability of these particular tools. Okay, so are you ready? I hope so. Yes. So before we get hands-on with agents, I just want to show you here why enterprises rely on H2O AI to turn AI into real value. So we lead the market in AI agentic performance, and we include a built-in evaluation toolkit so teams can benchmark and validate every agent before it's deployed. That's a great capability that we have. That alone solves one of the biggest enterprise blockers, trust and reliability. We also offer sovereign AI, meaning you can run generative AI, predictive AI, including AutoML and deep learning securely on any cloud that you wish, in a hybrid setup or fully air-gapped environment. And you see here our ecosystem across AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, and our own enterprise H2O GPT platform. And there are a lot of things that we have here. For example, we have here presented in the slide, we bring deep domain expertise in sectors like especially banking, telco, and the public sector, where accuracy and compliance matter the most. And we really provide ready-to-use vertical designs that we have implemented for customers so that they can adapt and deploy quickly, and this accelerates ROI. So for updates with respect to these things, you can go and check our H2O.ai website or our YouTube videos that we are regularly creating. And finally, H2O AI is powered by world's top Kaggle grandmasters. And this is very, very important because actually here you can see in this slide captures one of H2O AI's biggest differentiators in the market. So our products are built and continuously improved by some of the world's best data scientists there are out there. We have multiple triple and double Kaggle grandmasters, several world number ones, and globally distributed team. So what this means is that the tools that you are going also to discover today, and all the tools that we are creating here at H2O AI, we are not just using technology, we are using technology that is being shaped and stress tested by the top 5% of the data science talent worldwide. And this is important because quality is important when developing tools. Nowadays, everyone can develop tools, but are they really compliant to the industry standards, to the latest state-of-the-art requirements there are for the technology or not? That's the big question. Okay, so let's create AI agents, but for those who don't actually know what they are, what is an AI agent? So when we talk about agents, I want you to picture something simple. Imagine you have a tiny smart robot sitting on your desk. Let's say my Stampler is my tiny robot, okay? It can actually think, plan, and take action the same way a helpful colleague would. So he can talk, and he can actually give me information about stuff that I don't know. So this little robot can use tools. If it needs to calculate something, it grabs a calculator. If it needs information, it searches. If it needs to create a diagram and summarize, for example, a document, it knows which tool to pick up and how to use it. And the magic is that it can chain all of these steps together on its own without you supervising every move, right? Like you don't need to be controlling with this tiny robot so that he can do his job. So when you create an agent, you're essentially giving this robot superpowers. Like imagine a sort of a Superman superpower attitude. You're teaching it how to reason, how to pick the right tools, and how to complete multi-step tasks end to end. And that's why agents matter today. They don't just respond, they do the work for you. And in an ideal world, we would have situations where we would like these agents to intervene because we are doing so many repetitive tasks and sometimes it's tedious. So if we could have an agent that would be personalized for a particular task that is recurring, that could save us hours and hours per week, per month, why not use this agent? So the bottom line here is that creating an agent means setting up an AI system that can automatically use multiple tools to complete complex tasks for you. So if you're thinking about OpenAI, for example, usually people are interacting in chat only. But when you are adding tools like access to the internet, tools like the research capabilities that are very high, tools like code helpers like Python coding and all sorts of things like for example, RAG capabilities to read documentation and stuff like that, there is where the power starts showing up. So this is the idea here, and these agents matter for a lot of reasons. But when we look across teams today, the pain points are surprisingly consistent, and I see them all over the place, and that's where we try to minimize the gaps. So people spend a huge amount of time on repetitive manual work, as I said before, not because the tasks are hard, but because there's no automation that can handle nuance or multi-step reasoning. This is exactly where these agents change the game. And not only agents don't just answer a question, they reason through a workflow, they understand context, they break tasks into tiny steps, they execute them reliably. They also produce structured outputs every time, which means that you can reuse them, you can plug them into systems, you can adapt them, and you can hand them off to other teams if this is something that you need to do without any sort of rework. So the shift is simple. Instead of teams stitching everything together manually, agents become the connective tissue that drives speed, connectivity, and quality across organization. But you would say, well, Andrea, I know about automatizing tasks since like 2090s. We have RPA capabilities also. What's about that? Well, the problem is that automatizing things that also at the back end are hard-coded is something that is very difficult to control and maintain and update without like a human intervention, without like a 24-hour individual who would like need to take a look at this. But what agents can do, and that's one of the biggest strengths that we also have in our platform, is the fact that the reasoning process happening within agents, it's like helping them to modify code and improve on what they see and adjust the code accordingly. So if there is an error in the script they find, there is something that doesn't work and there is a blocking point, well, they don't just break up like an RPA sort of robotic process automation tool. They see what the error is, they have capability behind it, and what they are going to do is actually they auto-correct themselves in a way that doesn't even require you to know about it. But what's great about it is that there is no black box here, meaning that on platforms that are really like respecting themselves in terms of chat capabilities, you can actually see all the resources, all the reasoning, all the code that was put into getting you a precise answer. And so it's amazing. It's a power that people don't have into consciousness that much. I am really trying to democratize and promote these capabilities as much as possible, because I really feel like they are the future. And so when we talk about why agents matter right now, the key shift is that AI is finally moving from being a helpful assistant to actually executing work end to end. And so the tool that I showed you at the beginning, that web page that I created in a couple of moments, it was a means for me to have a tool that could help me automatize a sort of a decision based on a compliance policy documentation that has hundreds of pages, which I didn't bother to read. But my assistant bothered to read it in my place. Okay, so now that I set up the context, I'm going to present to you what the tool we are going to use is. So when we talk about ready-to-use vertical agents, we are really talking about taking the hardest, the most repetitive data work and giving teams a way to automate it with enterprise reliability. And so the agents that are being created, they come pre-built from patterns we've seen across hundreds of real deployments, but the real magic is that they're not one size fits all. You shape them around your data, your tools, your models, and this dramatically reduces time to value while staying compliant with your internal standards. Meaning, if there is an agent that you are creating today on HR, but that particular application looks very good and you have another idea to adapt it, for example, let's say marketing, all you need to do is have a prompt in the chat, and in a couple of minutes, you can get another application that is tailored for another product. And what is great about this platform is that you actually can keep it on premise completely without access to the internet, so that all the confidential data that application was created on stays within your premise. You only use the tool without needing to actually get out of the system, because I know a lot of discussions around data privacy and regulations, RGPD and stuff like that. Well, we work with customers that are working in highly secured environments, and they are super comfortable of using these tools on their environments without anything getting outside of the environments. Okay, and so having said that, let's now build our first AI agents in a matter of minutes. So what I would like you to do right now is actually what I'm going to assist you with. Let's go to the main website that H2O.ai has, which is called h2o.ai. And over here, what you are going to see is actually the homepage. And on this particular homepage, all you need to do in order to access our H2O GPT Enterprise tool is to scroll down a bit and maybe ask a question. So in my case, let's start with something simple. Let's ask, for example, what is H2O GPT-E? Because this is the tool we are going to use. And I'm going to click on start, on enter, or on this button over here. And what's happening right now is that you are going to be brought on a freemium environment that you have access to. You will see on the right bottom of the screen a pop-up saying that you can sign in. I highly advise you to sign in to have access to the extent of the many capabilities we offer within this platform. You can sign in with your Google account, Apple account, or GitHub account if you wish to. And so we are brought on this page where you just get the answer right from the start. H2O GPT is an advanced AI-powered question answering system developed by H2O.ai, and you have a lot of answers and things that might be interesting for you at a high level, including the summary. So for those who want to follow along, go ahead. For those who just want to take a look at what I am presenting, you can also refer to this recording for later, because I'm going to share it on YouTube afterwards. Okay, so what we will do now, we will build a working agent, and this is what an ordinary chat can do, and this is how this chat can actually become an agent. So here we are on the main interface of H2O GPT-E. As you can see, we have on the left side a sidebar that shows to us the most recent chats that we have created. If you are signed in, it will keep the history. That's why I'm already signed in, and it keeps the history. You have access to the entirety of the chats. You have access to collections, or how we like to call them, sort of use cases. So this is the place where you can bring your documents that are related to a particular use case, and here you can have your chats on top of it, and here is where all the magic happens. You have the session, another tab called documents. This is the place where actually all the information and documents that you upload are going to be stored. And we have many more other tools, including the one that I wanted to show you here, prompt. This is the place where you can create from a template a new prompt, where you can actually prompt the system to give information about your particular use case in a way that whenever you are using this particular prompt, it will always, for the answer, the chat will always refer to this prompt and will make sure that the guidelines explained here are being respected. Okay, so this is it. What is H2O GPT? This is our first chat. So in order to make it become a powerful agent, all we need to do is like 2 or 3 tiny tweaks over here. So what I'm going to do here is, as you see, I have a place that has Ask Anything in it. And when I click on the Customize button, I can see another drawer window appearing. This indicates to me that this chat doesn't belong to any collection, meaning that there is no sort of documents attached to it, there is no use case attached to it, but I can definitely attach to the use case that I previously created. I see a prompt section as well that I can parameter if I want to, and a configuration place, and here is where the magic happens. So what's great is that you always have these indicators with the eyes that explain to you what the functionality is doing. So in order for us to create a new agent, we need to toggle on this functionality called Use Agent. And here you have a lot of things to take into consideration. The one that I would advise you to make sure you're using is using the general agent that executes code with browser. So this is an agent that you would use for multi-step workflows, for example, for data analysis and insights, research and synthesis, code, HTML code, integration with your documents, problem solving, etc. And so now that I have activated this agent, I also have access to a lot of tools, including tools that are being developed by H2O AI. The AutoML tool called Driverless AI here that is responsible of issuing all sorts of data analysis and insights for your data. And so here, what I would like to do is to unselect this particular tool, because the more I select, the more time it would take for the algorithm to go through all of them and make sure he's selecting the first one. And what I would like you to do is actually only select Python coding here. So just toggle on this one, tick it on, and internet access. So now I'm creating an agent that is capable of coding with Python, is capable of accessing the internet, and this is very, very, very powerful. So what I'm going to do next is something to give to the algorithm to work with, right? Let's use a sort of a prompt. So for example, let's say with the occasion of the holidays that I am planning to have a party for 15 people with a budget of $300, and I'm going to ask to the algorithm to help with creating a party plan, including budgeting, breakdown, 3 easy appetizer recipe, and a shopping list. And so now I'm going to put in the chat the template that I'm going to use. It's an easy template that you can actually copy paste directly. So I'm going to put here in the chat. Just take this particular template and go ahead and put it in the chat over here. So what I'm asking right now to the algorithm is, I'm planning a holiday party and I would like you to actually prepare this particular party. Okay, now what is going to happen is that the chat will analyze the request that I have, and it will issue for me some results. In the meanwhile, let's go back and go through some other things that I could do for the chat. Like, for example, I would say, once this gives the results, well, maybe I want the information to be stored in a JSON object with a particular schema. Maybe I want to integrate this in a database that takes in JSON objects. So I could do this as well. Then I could take a look to see what the tool is doing. So let's go back here and see what's happening. So as we see here, the chat is going to answer to us and showing to us all sorts of information. So we have here, for example, documentation, and we are able to follow along and see what the chat is presenting on the screen. So you can see that there is a breakdown of what my request was, and here it's going to prepare a plan for me to execute on. Okay, perfect. So we are going to wait for a moment. It's a rush hour right now. But that's what I want to share with you. The fact that whenever you're creating an agent, if you're using the right tools, you don't need to know how to code. You only need to have your idea and give context. This is what prompt engineering is all about. This is why we have prompt engineers, AI engineers nowadays, because actually these are people who understand how the mechanism behind works and know how to decorticate it, like how to actually talk to the language in a way that is clear. It's like that skill we had at the beginning when Google search bar was invented, and we needed to learn how to search in a way that it could indicate to the search engine behind information that would be very relevant for us. This is like the same type of thing. Okay, and so now if I'm back, I'm going to receive more information about my party plan. So I see that this is going to like be broken down with instructions, all sort of information and stuff like that. Complete shopping list that I can do, a diary, dairy, packaged drinks, decorations, so on and so forth. So that's great, like that's great, but actually it's not super useful, because like I only see this as a text. So what about I ask him create an HTML application that is easy user experience for me to use instead of the text here. So I could say that. I'll just copy this in the chat and share this with you. And now, because I have activated the general agent, which has coding capabilities, normally you will be able to see an application, and that's like in a matter of a couple of minutes. So let me actually share with you. I'm not sure exactly. Okay, perfect. I found it. I'll share with you this particular script as well. So yeah, that's that easy. What we need to do right now is to wait for the algorithm to start creating our application that afterwards we can use. So this is one of the things that we can do with the algorithm, right? If we go back on the slides, well, we have a lot of other things that we can do. For example, we can ask for a JSON object where all this information can be stored. And then when the result is going to come on the screen, I found it very interesting that we could validate it actually afterwards if we also want to be a bit controlling in JSON-lint.com. So yeah, that's interesting. Let's say you are developing that to put in a database that accepts JSON file. So this is it. We just created an agent. We activated a general agent that has Python and internet capabilities. We said, I am planning on doing this task, organizing an event for Christmas. And now I want you to create an HTML file that is a web app that I could use exactly as the one that I'm creating over here. So that's it. Now, we will leave this agent work behind and we will come back to it later to see how the application looks. What I suggest we do right now is actually start working towards this holiday gift recommendations dashboard that I told you about. And my aim is to show once again, without any coding skills, that you can reach to something similar in a couple of minutes. Let's say you have like 5 friends to whom, or like 50 friends to whom you would like to send invitations for Christmas. This could be an application that would help you with that, to personalize as best as possible. So let's just start doing that. What we will do right now is let's open another chat, like I'm feeling inspired today. So while this agent is working, I'm going to open another chat. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on the customize button on the configurations side in order to activate an agent. I can also do it here directly within the screen, but what would be interesting is maybe to take a look at some of the other features. One that I really like is set up the agent accuracy. So if you go over here, you will see that you will be able to select the accuracy responses. There are a lot of things that we can do, a lot of things. Let's say now that in addition to using Python and internet access, I also want to use RAG text. So I'm going to tick on Python, RAG text, and internet access. So what am I doing here? Well, I am creating the same agent as I did before, except that now this one is better in terms of accuracy, so it will pay more attention to the types of the answers it gives. And in addition to that, I will integrate a RAG text. This one means that I can also give documentation to this particular agent, so that in addition to the generic information that it has based on the auto selection of a large language model, I could also select from here a lot of languages. I can also give documentation in multiple document sources and ask to help me with something, right? And so this is what we are going to do. We are going to put our agent accuracy on standard and select the agent type on general. We are going to enable the RAG text, and now we are going to give to it a file. So I would like to give him a file that I'm going to share with you here right away. Perfect. So this is the hyperlink to a file that you can download from online sources, or you can put the hyperlink directly as it is. And so I'm saying I would like to create a holiday gift recommendation, but actually to be compliant with the company's policy rules in terms of gifts and stuff like that, right? So what I can do here is, now that I selected this particular configuration, what I will be able to do is, let's say I'm going on this hyperlink. I'll make it easier like that. And this hyperlink has information about company policy and procedure dating from June. Let's say I am an intern and I want to discover how the policy gifts work without actually doing too much effort. And so what I'm going to do is actually take this documentation, which I prepared already here, and drag and drop it into the chat, right? So right now there is a documentation that is being added. And so here I can see there is a job currently happening with storing that particular documentation. Okay, so now let's have another prompt to work on. What I need to do for this prompt is actually to find an appropriate holiday gift for 3 different people that are somehow related to the company. So I am going to share with you the prompt that you can put in the chat directly. This is the prompt over here. You can copy paste it if you wish. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get back, and I have this documentation over here that is being added, and I'm going to say I need to find appropriate holiday gifts for 3 different people, and I have this budget for like this amount of budget for all of us, for all of them. What I want you to use is the documentation about the policy guidelines that I gave you, and make sure the recommendations do not violate any company rules. So now that we have this in place and we see the documentation has been uploaded, we are just going to wait and see for the results. What does the algorithm discover? What are the results here that I need to take into account? So I see a lot of practicability on all sorts of industries here, especially in the moment where like you need to go through like a big amount of documents, especially law and legal and procedural documents for you to discover. And so while this is going to issue answers, and as you see already, like the chat is working and generating Python documents, generating text and all sorts of other files, I'm going to get back on the initial chat that I have created to see what the result is. And so here the result is already ready for us to take a look at, and I'm going to click on it. So the HTML file, let's see what's the problem. Maybe I need to restart it. It's going to show to me whenever I'm clicking on these documents, all the files that have been issued, all the resources from the internet that have been used, all the thoughts of the chat, including all sorts of Python codes and stuff like that, and everything like this. So now what I'm going to do is get back on the HTML file, and I'm going to open it in another place. And this is my simple HTML file with respect to the request that I gave. So you see already how easy it was to create an application just by having 2 user prompts saying the needs that you have at that particular moment. So congratulations, now you can definitely organize your Christmas party. So here you have a budget breakdown in terms of the amount of money that I have available. You can click on recipes, 3 easy appetizers, and you can like see all of these recipes, how they look like. This is amazing. You can also click on the shopping list and actually tick off all these things that you bought on the menu. So I imagine this as a great application for when I'm always going to go to shopping. Like I always have a list that I need to renew every week for like a big shopping course. I feel like this could be it. Like all I need to do is just like talk for a minute to the algorithm in order to definitely have him organize my shopping timeline as well. Like this is an HTML file that can be published online, can be shared via Gmail with someone else, and can be used as an application already to go, right? So we have a lot of things, many more ideas. Like look at this, additional festive ideas. Like it comes up with so much things. So the aim here is not to learn how to code. The aim is to learn how to request a need that you have and just let H2O GPT do its work. It looks amazing. Okay, so yeah, that's amazing. I'm super excited how it works. But of course we can like definitely improve it more. Like let's say instead of giving the list of like the 3 appetizers and stuff like that, we could connect to a database for like all the database of like a particular supermarket. And like I could see a lot of potential of how companies, for example in retail in this case, or pharmacy or whatever, could leverage a database of products for them. Or I could see how I could present my like monthly KPIs of whatever type of department I have in just giving a couple of information and having something easy to share on the screen. This is great. I'm super excited. So please let me know in the chat. I'm not sure if you are able to put your questions. If you received a sort of a similar interface in HTML for those who are following along. My assumption being that it can be slightly different depending on what type of user prompt you're doing, but that you have a lot of options to work with and play with. So for example, let's say I want to go on H2O AI company and I don't like the colors that are there. What I will do, I'll scroll to the H2OA branding kit, and now I'm going to say I like it, but use the company branding kit from this link. So personalize it with my own branding kit. We can definitely do that. So you see once again how one simple phrase can change a lot of stuff. Let's go back to the other tool we are making right now. So here our GPT has finished, and let's see what he explained to us here. So I requested what? I need gifts to give for 3 different people. And it said, after conducting a comprehensive systematic review of your company policy document, I can confirm that no specific gift giving guidelines exist in the provided document. Oh, that's so bad. So I think I messed up the document, and right now I think the best would be to provide a better document. So let's do just that. Let's see the hyperlink here. So now I'm going to share with you another hyperlink where you can take documentation from, and let's say we made a mistake, right? Like there is no company guidelines on gifts from this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to connect on this page. I can also provide hyperlinks directly, but it's like a bit slow, the internet right now. So what I'm going to do is I have a file that I already stored in case demo goes like this, which is like a sort of a Murphy law. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this particular company and say like, here is the new document. Okay, and what I will say, if this works, now create an application. If this works, create an application that has particular specifications like I gave here. I'll put it also into the chat. Not sure if I'm allowed to copy that much. No, I'm not. So I'll just copy half of it. It's too much. So yeah, the idea here is that I can have a particular template to create applications based on that. So the application that you use, I showed you earlier, was by developing a sort of a prompt that can also be helped with in the H2O GPT-E that looks like that. So I asked him in a previous session, create to me like a structured HTML file that would embed CSS and JavaScript and display the following sort of information, right? I cannot copy it. So for the sake of this live presentation, what I'll do, say like, now if this works, create a very nice user application that I can use so create an HTML with CSS and JavaScript. The best you can. We can improvise here. Okay. So I'm sending this, and I'm going also to put this in the chat. Maybe you wanna follow along. And this is it. I'm super curious to see what it does. My assumption, which is like normal at this point, is that because I did not give the same indications as here, it will not look the same. So I'm curious to see what he comes up with, and based on that, we will tailor it and personalize it as best as possible in order to actually bring it closer to our initial vision. But for the sake time here, let's go back to the application that we created, like we asked to create earlier with our branding. And I'm going to go on the HTML file and wait just a moment for it to charge. And afterwards, I'm going to see if it was able from the previous chat to this one to create a nice file. So I'm just going to refresh a bit this. In the background, the tools are working, so the fact that I'm refreshing is not doing any sort of harm. This is the original file, and normally it will charge in just a moment. So let me actually see what are the files that it prepared. So you have like Python files, text file with information, fetch brand kit, Python file. Like you see a lot of documents that usually developers, co-developers, and data scientists would like develop for a long time. And so I also have the possibility to check HTML to check the planner. So here it is, it's charged. So initially I had this planner, if you remember, with the possibility to navigate via different pages and like really like reproduce this. And now I have the same planner with my company logo, which looks amazing. I'm super excited. So yeah, like really that was a true promise. You can in 10 minutes create an application that would normally via code and a lot of experience take some time. So yeah, I'm super excited about that. Look at it. You can download it if you want to, and you can double click on it and open it within another page. You can share it with your friends. Like it's super interesting. You can, for example, connect like in the recipes section, you would give, let's say, an entire PDF cooking book, and you would say like pick randomly like 3 appetizers and create a random button so that every day I can have something new or something like that with the recipes underneath. Like it's super interesting and amazing. Okay, so for the sake of the time, because we know we have just a couple of minutes, I really want to go back to our application where I want to see if the chat understood from this new document what are the policy guidelines. Okay, let's see. So giving policy review, no guidelines found. Did I upload a good document or not? Let me see. So here, in order to see if I uploaded the good document, maybe it's another one. Company updated normally. Okay. Verify the budget compliance. So I'm not sure if this is the file that I was supposed to update. I'm not sure if within this file I'm able, so I'm clicking on it and I'm able to see if there are like any sort of things. So I can talk with the document. There are many more options on document AI capabilities over here. So what I can do is like, let's go on the chat again and see if it took it in consideration. So let me see. Would you like to adjust? Okay. Please check that the updated version of the document has policy around gifts. And I'm going to see the file. Yeah, I'll just download this file and upload it over to H2O GPT-E. So I'm going to give this one. And then create an application that I can view. Application in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript that I can play with. So this will be the last task that I'm going to do. In the meanwhile, let's get back to our previous one for taking a look at what other documents we have. So it's interesting because like we have a lot of details that we can take a look at. We can fetch the code generation, we can view the entire files and the thoughts and the chat that we gave, and this is very, very powerful. So you can see how just like with a couple of prompts and questions, you can definitely tailor the application for your use cases. And this is how I did in preparing for these workshops, in reaching at this particular application where I can even print the dashboard completely. I can set up filters and reset them if I want. I can take a look to see if I am compliant or not with respect to the engineering policy documentation. I can select and make sure I am within the budget that is being assigned. And what I can also do is send notifications. Let's say Andrea, my name. I'm going to put my Gmail. Let's put here B and C. And I'm going to click on send via Gmail. And now there are 3 emails that are being opened that I parametered before, so that they open in a way that actually you can share automatically, just clicking the send button, and personalized for that particular individual these invitations and credit coupons. So for example, hey, we are delighted to share a special gift with you this holiday season, so on and so forth. So you don't need like advanced tools to be able to automatize a process like this one. And of course, the sky is the limit. And here, if I'm back on the page, I can see that there are 3 Gmail emails, compose windows that have been opened. So this is it. I'll go back to my tool here and I will see if there is any results created for my particular tool that I'm doing, and the agent is still processing. And so let's give it 1 more minute. And the last thing that I would like you to do is actually get certified in case you have the occasion tonight, because based on the presentation I did, I put together a quiz that will offer you the possibility to get certified. So there are like 10 questions with the single choice options that you can take a look at. It doesn't last more than 10 or 15 minutes. And if you complete it and you have more than 70% of success rate, you are going to receive a participation certification from H2O AI University, the training department we have here at H2O AI. And yeah, I always feel it's better to be practical about stuff. And while the agent is pending, I am going to also show you how to reach the h2o.ai/university page, where we are actually having quizzes for free that you can take and get certified on. So under the About section, you have a tab called H2O University. Click on the Learn More button, and here is the centralized place where we have courses that we develop and certifications that you can take for all sorts of tools and all sorts of concepts, with a teaser explaining what the course is all about, a description, integrated YouTube playlist that you can play directly from the page, and a quiz that you can take when you give your information in order for us to observe what your name is for the certification to be issued, with many more things such as additional course resources and access to different links. So I really hope I sparked your interest with this presentation. The aim was not for you to become pros of this tool. The aim was for you to take it into your hands and discover what the art of the possible is over here. And so we are still processing a bit the information. I'm requesting for the agent to take a look to the entire document, to create an HTML file, and actually to give me a result to the screen. Are you ready to play with it? Okay, great. And the last thing that I wanted to show you is the fact that just 3 minutes before we started the meeting, I introduced a sort of a version where you could actually have either the Christmas version of the same documentation, either the brand kit version of our own company. And so here you might say like, well, Andrea, this is ugly. Like, I wouldn't hire you for web development with this particular page. And you would be right, because actually what I did was to ask for, well, give me an HTML page that I can incorporate on GitHub directly, so that I can refer with 2 different buttons to the original dashboard that I created and to the enhanced dashboard that I created afterwards. Now we could also like take this particular file and introduce it into the system, and then actually ask the same question, enhance everything for me so that this file looks better and we have like even a nicer experience. Okay, and I'm mindful of the time. Let's take a look at the file that has been created. I'm going to click on the Explorer view and write HTML, and I'm going to click on there are 2 HTML files. This first one is the gift recommendation app, and the second one is actually the same one, but a bit differently. So I have 2 options here, the recommendation app and the selector app. Let's take a look. Let's say which one can we take? Let's take a look at the first one. So I'm going to like open it in another page, and I'm going to see what this tool came up with in comparison to what I did, where it was a bit well crafted. This is because I gave more information to the prompt. In this particular page here, if I find it, well, you are going to also see that you have a recommendation system based on the maximum gift value. You see all the 3 recipients, and you also see information particular for a particular, like all the 3 pages, right? Like the other version didn't have all the 3 pages. So I can see all the recipients, or I can select, let's say, the senior client that I have. And so here there are a couple of things that I can use. Let's say I want to select this particular gift. It's selected. And now the total investment or gift is this particular one. So it's a simpler application. Here I might export as text or print summary and just like send it to my IT department or something like that, or send it to my HR department. Whereas the other tool that was, well, I could send an email afterwards. So now if I really want this option of send gift notification via email, I can continue, and you can spend hours having fun with prompt user, saying like introduce a button to send directly to Gmail gift notification to the person who receives the gift. And I'm pressing send, and the results are going to come, but it's the end of our session, and I really hope you enjoyed it. So if this sparked your interest, once again, I'm super excited for all these capabilities. I really hope it gave you some ideas of how to play with it, and maybe organize your holidays for the end of the year. So thank you once again for bearing with me. You'll find me on h2o.ai/university. Don't hesitate to take a look at h2o.ai website as well to discover even more tools that are out there. And thank you so much for attending. Have a wonderful evening or day for those on the other side of the globe. Thank you so much. Cheers. Bye-bye.